Welcome back, everyone. We're kicking off a brand new deep dive, and this time we're all about color. Specifically, color trends in the European furniture world for 2025. Get ready to be inspired because your living room might just thank you later.
You got it.
Europe's furniture market is huge, and color plays a huge GE role in consumer decisions. That's where ASKT furniture comes in.
Yeah, ASKT is right at the forefront of that market.
Exactly, and we've got the inside scoop straight from the CEO, Sunbin Qi. He knows this stuff inside and out.
Yeah, he's been in the industry for over 20 years, managing factories, understanding trends, you name it.
Absolutely. Plus, he's got this incredible insight into consumer psychology. And what's really cool is his insights are based on real data. I'm talking sales figures from ASKT, research from their development center, and feedback from buyers all over Europe.
Another thing that really struck me about Chi is how committed he is to sustainability at ASKT.
Oh, absolutely. And that aligns so well with what we're seeing from European consumers. Eco-conscious choices are huge over there. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the trends themselves. Um, Color trends.
Sure.
When we say, color trends, we're talking about the big names, right? Pantone, Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore. They all released their color picks for the year, and this year is no different. We got their forecasts for 2025, and there are some real standouts. What caught your eye?
Well, I think Pantone's Mocha Mousse is really interesting. It's like this rich, sophisticated brown,
Yeah.
perfect for those like plush velvet dining chairs.
Ah, I see.
And you know what? I could totally picture this being a hit in like Germany and the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was going to say, those countries love their understated elegance,
Right.
but it's not just about being stylish. It's about creating a feeling, an experience in a space.
Absolutely. I think Mocha Mousse really brings that grounding element to a room.
Right. It's like with technology all around us, we
Right.
crave those calming, natural vibes in our homes.
And Mocha Mousse just nails that.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we've got Glidden's Brick Red.
Oh, yeah. Brick red. That's a punch of color.
It is, right. And they're not suggesting this for like entire sofas.
Right.
It's more for those smaller pieces. Think chair legs or lamp bases.
Yeah. Add in those little accents.
Right.
Pops of personality.
It's about that attention to detail,
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's Krylon coming in with this really unique finish, hammered black.
Oh, wow.
What do you think about that?
I like it. It's got that kind of industrial chic vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking bar stools in a loft-style cafe.
Uh-huh. Or even like some metal shelving units.
That's cool,
Yeah.
yeah. Add a bit of texture and edge.
Right. Texture is so key.
It is. It's not all about flat colors anymore. And then
Yeah.
we've got like Sherwin-Williams, who's gone all out with their color capsule. It's not just one color, it's a whole palette.
Oh, wow.
9 colors to be exact. A mix of earthy neutrals and some bolder shades. So you get a lot of flexibility.
That's cool. Designers must love that.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
And then there's Benjamin Moore with their cinnamon slate. This one's intriguing.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's like a moody plum mixed with chocolate brown.
Interesting.
Right. I can totally see this as like a beautiful upholstery fabric, maybe with a subtle sheen to it.
Yeah, I think that would be a fresh take on those classic, elegant dining spaces.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So we've got these specific colors, but there seems to be a bigger theme emerging here, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Like a global mood board almost.
What do you think that mood board is saying? What are the key takeaways?
Well, I think comfort is a big one
Uh-huh.
and definitely a connection to nature.
Right. And this idea of creating spaces that feel really personalized,
Exactly.
It's like we're bringing the outdoors in,
Yes.
surrounding ourselves with colors that feel grounding, like a retreat from the outside world.
Exactly.
And we see it everywhere, right? Rich, earthy browns, deep jewel tones, those textured finishes we talked about, warm neutrals, organic greens and blues.
It's a whole vibe.
It is, right? But here's the thing. Does this mean everyone in Europe is going to have the same brown sofa?
Oh, no, not at all.
Good. I was worried for a second.
Even within Europe, there are these fascinating regional differences in what people prefer.
Totally. Like the Germans, for instance, with their love of understated design, they gravitate towards those warm browns, quiet greens, those subtle textures. It's all connected to their cultural values.
Right.
That practicality, that functionality, that connection to nature.
And then you've got the Dutch, who are more open to bolder accents, pops of color. Their design is more playful, innovative.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And then, the UK and Ireland, it's all about cozy, classic palettes over there, creating those inviting, comforting spaces.
It is amazing how those regional differences play out, isn't it?
It is. And for furniture businesses, understanding those nuances is crucial.
Yeah, it's about tailoring your products to the specific market.
Absolutely. You can't just follow the global trends blindly. You have to resonate with local tastes. But one thing that does seem to resonate across all of Europe is sustainability.
Right. Consumers there are really passionate about that.
And Sunbin Qi's company, ASKT, is a fantastic example of how that focus on sustainability is weaving its way into every part of furniture production.
Absolutely. Less plastic packaging, greener dyes and paints, and creating furniture that's built to last.
Right, that's a huge part of it. It's a win-win, you know?
Mm.
Consumers get stylish furniture that's also sustainable.
Makes sense.
So we've got all this information about color trends, but let's make it practical. What can our listeners actually do with this information? How can they apply these insights?
Well, for starters, don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah, you don't have to redecorate your entire house to incorporate these colors.
Exactly. You can start small.
Maybe some accent pillows, throws, maybe even some artwork with those trending hues.
Yeah, those little touches can make a big difference.
They can. And if you are thinking about buying new furniture, maybe look for pieces that have those versatile finishes.
Good.
That way, it's not limited to one specific look.
And you can update it easily later on.
Exactly. And of course, remember those regional preferences. If you're buying for a specific European market, you've got to keep those cultural nuances in mind.
Right.
Now, I'm really curious about how ASKT actually goes about designing their furniture. It can't just be, oh, that's a trendy color, let's slap it on a chair.
Oh, not at all. Sunbin Qi gave us some real insights into their process. It's meticulous, starting with advanced welding techniques to create these super strong, durable frames.
Oh, interesting.
They're using this specific kind of welding called TIG welding.
Okay.
It creates incredibly strong joints while minimizing waste, which is another win for sustainability.
Wow. So it's not just about the finished product, it's the whole process.
It is. And then they've got these carefully selected upholstery fabrics,
Yeah.
perfectly matched to those color trends we talked about, but also, high quality, built to last.
I like that. Style and substance.
Right. And they even go as far as setting up real-life showroom setups.
To test how the colors look under different lighting conditions.
Yes. It's all about making sure the final product actually works in a real setting, not just
Yeah.
on a design board.
That's impressive.
Right. And then there's their quality control process.
Oh, of course.
They're really strict about ensuring colors are consistent
Mm.
and that everything meets their standards.
So it's this whole combination of color trends, production technology, consumer insights, all coming together
Exactly.
to create furniture that is beautiful, functional, indie, sustainable.
Right. ASKT is a great example of a company that's really doing things right.
I think so too. It's like a perfect blend of art and science. But ultimately, as we move into 2025, it's clear that color is more than just a trend.
It is.
It's this powerful tool we have for shaping our homes, for expressing our personal styles. So here's a thought for our listeners. What does your ideal space look and feel like? What colors bring that vision to life?
It really is, isn't it? It's more than just picking a color from a chart.
So true. It's about understanding, the interplay of colors.
Yeah.
How they work together to create these moods, these atmospheres in a space. It's almost like you're curating a symphony of colors that really speak to you.
I love that analogy. A symphony of colors.
Right.
And speaking of speaking to you, there's this whole fascinating world of color psychology. Did you know that warm colors, like reds and oranges, can actually stimulate your appetite?
Really?
Yeah, that's why you see them used so much in restaurants.
Ah, that makes sense. So if you incorporate a little bit of brick red, or maybe that warm caramelized, into your dining room.
You might just find yourself lingering a little longer at the dinner table.
Exactly. It's all about setting the mood right.
Right. And on the flip side, you've got your blues and greens.
Yeah.
They're often associated with that sense of tranquility, serenity.
Calming colors.
Exactly. So they're perfect for bedrooms and bathrooms.
It makes sense. I'm thinking about that Sherwin-Williams quietude, like sage green.
Oh, perfect example. Turn your bathroom into a spa-like oasis.
Ooh, I like that idea. And then you've got purple, right? Often linked to luxury, sophistication.
Oh, yes.
That Glidden purple basil we talked about.
Gorgeous.
It's got that regal, jewel tone vibe. I could see it as an accent wall in the living room.
Totally. Or maybe on a statement armchair.
Yeah, add a touch of drama.
Exactly. And, while we're talking about the nuances of color, we can't forget about texture.
Right, because the same color can feel totally different depending on the texture.
It's true. Think about that Mocha mousse we discussed.
Mhm.
Picture it on a sleek leather sofa versus a plush velvet one.
Totally different vibes.
Right. And that hammered black from Krylon, that texture adds a whole other dimension.
It does. Texture really adds depth, complexity.
Absolutely. And Sunbin Qi actually emphasized the importance of lighting as well.
He did. He mentioned how ASKT actually sets up showrooms to test how colors look in different lighting.
Yeah, they're really committed to that level of detail.
It makes sense, right? Because a color can look completely different under natural daylight versus soft artificial light.
It's true. It's something people often overlook. You have to consider the interplay of light and color.
Yeah. Test it out in the actual space, see how it looks at different times of day, just like you'd test paint samples on your wall before you commit.
Exactly.
So we've talked about these trends in general, but let's get specific.
Okay.
How do these colors translate to actual furniture pieces? And I'm thinking about dining chairs specifically, since Sunbin Qi mentioned that's an area where ASKT really excels.
Well, we already envisioned Mocha mousse on those luxurious velvet chairs, creating that understated elegance.
We did.
But what about cinnamon slate?
Oh, yeah.
I can see that working beautifully on chairs with those curved backs, maybe with some brass accents on the legs.
Ooh, I like that. Add a bit of warmth and sophistication. What about the upholstery, though? Would you stick with velvet, or could you see other fabrics working well with that color?
Ooh, maybe a textured twill, or even like a subtle herringbone pattern.
I see it. Something that adds interest without being too overwhelming.
Exactly.
Now, what about brick red? It's such a bold color.
Yeah.
How would you use that on a dining chair?
I think maybe not for the entire chair, but as an accent.
Okay.
Like imagine a chair with a neutral upholstery, maybe creamy beige or light gray,
Uh-huh.
and then you add a pop of brick red on the piping, maybe on the back of the chair.
I love it. It's unexpected.
Right. Adds a bit of personality without being too much. And then for those jewel tones like purple basil or encore,
Mm-hmm.
those are perfect for statement pieces.
Okay.
So imagine like a single accent chair at the head of the table upholstered in that luxurious purple basil velvet.
Oh, wow.
Right. It draws the eye, adds drama and sophistication.
Yeah.
And encore with its deep blue.
It's so alluring.
Right. Picture it on chairs with a simple modern silhouette with matte black legs.
That would be stunning.
Yeah. And imagine pairing those with a light, natural wood dining table.
Mm.
The contrast would be fantastic.
You're speaking my language. It's
Yeah.
like a symphony of textures and tones.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
It's amazing how much of a difference those choices make. You know, you can create a completely different mood just by playing with color, texture, and form. And what I love about these 2025 trends is that they're trendy, but they also feel timeless.
You do, don't they?
You want your furniture to feel current, but you don't want it to look dated in a few years.
You want pieces that stand the test of time.
Exactly, both in style and in how well they're made. And that's something ASKT seems to understand.
They're not chasing fads.
They're making pieces that are built to last.
And they're doing it with that mindfulness toward the environment, which is so commendable.
Absolutely. It's really refreshing to see a company taking sustainability so seriously.
It's not just a buzzword for them.
It's woven into everything they do. And honestly, it's becoming more and more important to consumers, especially in Europe. People want to know that the products they're buying are aligned with their values.
They do.
They want to feel good about the furniture they bring into their homes.
Right. It needs to be ethical, sustainable, but also stylish and high quality.
Absolutely. It can't be one or the other anymore. It has to be all of those things.
It does. And ASKT is a great example of how it can be done.
They're leading the way, for sure.
They are.
So, lots to look forward to as we head into 2025.
Definitely.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's bring it back to the present. We've talked about these color trends, but how can people incorporate them into their homes right now?
Oh, that's a great idea. You don't have to wait for 2025.
You don't. Let's say someone's loving those warm, earthy browns, but their living room is painted a cool gray.
Okay.
What are some easy ways to bring in those warmer tones?
Textile's your best friend. They throw pillows, blankets, even curtains.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine adding some pillows in that mocha mousse brown or a warm terracotta, like caramelized.
Oh, I love that. You know, even just a chunky knit blanket draped over the sofa in like a deep brown or a rust color, it instantly warms up the space.
It does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
And don't be afraid to layer different textures, too.
Ooh, yeah, like a chunky knit throw with a smooth velvet pillow.
Yes, that tactile element makes it so inviting. And if you have a rug with hints of brick red in it,
Mm.
add a pillow in a similar shade, and it ties everything together.
Those little touches make all the
You
difference.
do. And artwork is another great way to bring in color.
It is. I'm thinking a painting with those jewel tones like purple basil or encore.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Or maybe a photograph of a landscape with those beautiful greens and blues.
Bring a bit of nature inside. So even if you're not ready to repaint or buy new furniture, there are tons of ways to play with these trends right now.
Absolutely. Be creative
Have fun with it.
and experiment.
Right, see what speaks to you.
Exactly.
Now, we've talked a lot about furniture, but I'm curious, do you see these color trends influencing other areas of design?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Like, what about fashion? Or even technology?
I think we're already seeing those lines blur a bit.
How so?
Well, we talked about how sustainability is huge in furniture,
Right.
and we're seeing that same focus in the fashion industry. More and more brands are using sustainable materials, ethical production methods.
It's true. Consumers are really starting to care about the impact their choices have.
They are, and it's not just about materials.
It's about the lifespan of a product,
Exactly.
moving away from that throwaway culture,
Yeah.
right?
Investing in pieces that are designed to last. Well-made, beautiful, functional.
Exactly. Pieces that bring you joy every time you use them, and that can even be passed down.
It's about quality, craftsmanship,
Absolutely. It's a shift towards mindful consumption.
and I think it's here to stay.
Me too.
Yeah.
So these trends, it's not just about aesthetics.
It's about values. It's about making choices that are good for us, good for the planet.
Creating a world where beauty and sustainability go hand in hand.
Beautifully put.
So we've covered a lot of ground, but how can we distill this into, like, actionable advice?
Okay, so for someone who's feeling a bit overwhelmed, where do they start?
That's the question, right? There's so much information out there, it's easy to get lost in it all.
Well, the first step is to simply observe.
Okay.
Look around your home. Notice what colors you're drawn to. What colors make you feel good? What do you gravitate towards in nature, in your clothes?
Tune into your intuition.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what speaks to you.
And once you have a sense of that, then what?
Then you can start brainstorming.
Right.
How can you incorporate those colors into your home?
Start small, maybe.
Exactly. Play with textiles, artwork, experiment with paint colors.
Maybe reupholster some furniture.
The possibilities are endless.
They are. And, don't be afraid to mix and match.
Exactly.
These 2025 color trends are so versatile.
You can create a warm, inviting space with those earthy browns and jewel tones, or a serene oasis with greens and blues.
Or make a statement with a pop of bold color.
It's all about creating a space that reflects your personality, your style.
I love that. It's about letting go of any rules and just having fun experimenting.
Exactly. And most importantly, enjoy the process. Designing your home should be a joyful experience.
As we wrap up this deep dive into color trends, I keep thinking about how much more there is to uncover. We've talked about these specific colors and these palettes for 2025, but what about the bigger picture? What's driving these trends? What does it say about, where design is headed?
That's such a good point. I think it goes back to that shift in values we talked about. People are really yearning for a sense of grounding, a connection. They want
Yeah.
comfort, authenticity, a deeper connection with nature, especially with, how hectic modern life is.
It's true, and we see that in those rising trends of using natural materials like wood and stone, and that whole biophilic design thing.
I have to like design, yeah.
Which, for those who don't know, it's basically about bringing elements of nature into our built environments.
Right, like plants, natural light, organic shapes.
Exactly. It's about creating spaces that really nurture our well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just for homes either. I'm seeing it in offices, hospitals.
Even schools.
Yeah. People are realizing how much our surroundings impact us, both physically and mentally.
Right, and they want to create spaces that promote that sense of harmony, that connection with nature.
Exactly. And color plays a huge role in that.
It does. We're moving away from those stark, minimalist palettes
Uh-huh.
and embracing these warmer, earthier tones.
It's like those rich browns, those deep greens, those warm terracottas.
Right. Those colors aren't just trendy, they're timeless. They've been used in design for centuries, and they'll continue to be relevant because they tap into something deeper.
That connection to nature.
Exactly.
They bring a sense of permanence, stability amidst all this, constant change with technology and trends. And speaking of timeless design, we've talked about ASKT's commitment to sustainability. But what are some things consumers can actually look for when they're shopping for sustainable furniture?
Well, the first thing is to do your research. Look for brands that are really transparent about their practices,
Yeah.
and look for certifications from reputable organizations.
Right, because there are a lot of certifications out there.
There are. You want to make sure you understand what they actually mean, like the Forest Stewardship Council or FSC.
Right.
That one ensures the wood comes from responsibly managed forests.
Yeah, or the Global Organic Textile Standard, GOTS.
GOTS.
Yeah.
They've got strict criteria for organic fibers, sustainable manufacturing. And don't be afraid to ask questions either.
Oh, yeah. A good company will be happy to tell you about their sourcing, their manufacturing, their packaging.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If they're hesitant to share those details, that's probably a red flag.
definitely. Transparency is key.
It is.
Yeah.
And beyond those certifications, think about the materials themselves.
Okay.
Look for sustainably harvested wood, recycled materials, or even reclaimed wood, giving new life to old lumber.
Uh-huh.
And think about the longevity of the piece. Will it last?
Right. Is it well made? Or is it going to end up in a landfill in a few years?
Exactly. It's about moving away from that disposable mindset and embracing durability, longevity.
It's about investing in pieces that will stand the test of time.
Yes, both in terms of style and in terms of quality.
Absolutely. It's about quality over quantity. Choosing pieces that you truly love
Pieces that will bring you joy for years to come.
and that you can maybe even pass down. It's a whole different way of thinking about furniture.
It is. And sustainability, it's a journey. It's not a destination.
That's a good way to put it.
There's always more we can learn, more we can do.
Yeah.
But by making conscious choices, by supporting these brands, we can create a more sustainable future.
I love that. So it seems like these color trends they're more than just about aesthetics.
They are?
They're a reflection of our values, our priorities.
It's about creating spaces that are beautiful, sustainable, and meaningful.
Exactly. It's about aligning our choices with our beliefs, making decisions that are good for us and for the planet.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that our choices have an impact. By embracing sustainability, we're not just creating beautiful homes, we're creating a more beautiful world.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. Wow, we covered a lot, from the hottest color trends to those cultural nuances that drive those regional preferences to the whole emphasis on sustainability. But I think what we really uncovered here is the deeper meaning behind all of this.
Yeah.
How these trends reflect our values, our hopes for a better future. A more beautiful future, a more sustainable future, a more fulfilling future.
We hope this has inspired you to think a bit differently about color,
And about design in general.
to look beyond the surface.
Yeah. To consider the stories these trends tell, the values they embody. So as you go about your own design journeys,
Yeah.
embrace the power of color.
Let it guide you, let it inspire you.
Let it reflect the beauty you want to bring into the world. Keep exploring.
Experiment.
Keep coloring your world in a way that feels true to you.
And we'll catch you on our next deep dive.
Until then, happy decorating.